Okay, Alex, welcome and over to you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to present to you today, and we're going to make this workshop as interactive as possible, even though it's virtual. The topic that we're going to cover kind of came out of when I first started presenting, I started presenting on sales and marketing alignment and how to align your marketing and sales teams, but everything kept coming back to the website and how to transform your website to your most valuable sales and marketing asset. Because it was kind of shocking to me how many companies out there, especially in the Vistage network, that are not making the best use of their website. So this is what we're going to focus on today, but different from other website presentations you've heard from other speakers in the past, this really focuses on it from a sales and marketing perspective. So just a little bit about me. So I am a Vistage member. I have a meeting next week. I've been where all of you are sitting. But I have over 15 years of experience in marketing and business development. So I'm currently the CEO of my company name just changed. It's Leadway. So Leadway is a marketing and sales consultancy that focuses specifically on generating ROI with marketing and in combination with sales. So the sales and marketing kind of alignment piece is where our focus of our company is. I've worked with several different high profile brands over the course of my career. I worked for Mattel for a number of years. I've worked in entertainment. I'm an adjunct professor of marketing at Sac State, and I've worked in several different industries. This hasn't been updated in a little bit, but I've worked in several way more industries than this. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to look at website. You're going to have some tangible takeaways on how to make your websites better. And you're really going to come away with some new ideas. All right. So I became a Vistage speaker because I kept getting asked the same three things around marketing and sales. So the first thing is, am I doing the right things from a marketing perspective? Next, question I probably get asked the most is what's going to get the best ROI, right? How do you measure marketing as it relates to sales? And how do I know if it's working? So every workshop that I do addresses at least one or two, or if not all of these questions. Okay, so within the Vistage decision model, this is going to fall into the customers category. And today I'm going to help you with key decisions on marketing and sales. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how the buying landscape has changed. Even post-COVID, it's changed quite a bit. So I'm going to show you how to stay on top of customers' ever-evolving needs and how to adapt your buyer's journey accordingly. Second, I'm going to help you establish what your business actually needs from a marketing perspective. Not what you think you might need, not what your competitors are doing, but what you actually need so that you can generate the best ROI and long-term growth. And finally, if I can help it, I'm going to help you avoid wasting money. So I'm going to help you maximize, again, your website and your most valuable marketing resources so you can get customers more predictably, consistently, and profitably. All right, so before we get started, just want to get a few housekeeping things out of the way. So the first thing I always get this, there's always one person in every group that says, Alex, what you're saying is great, but it doesn't apply to me or my business. I'm special. And so to that, I say, if any of your business goals are to get more customers, get more qualified leads, build better customer loyalty, make better products and services, increase customer retention, then I promise you, you'll get something out of this workshop. So I say this with love, but no, you're not special. Second, this workshop, even though it's virtual, is designed to be interactive. Ask questions, challenge me, put your questions in the chat, and Anna's going to field them for me. But this workshop's a lot more fun when we talk about our own personal experiences. And then, of course, there's going to be a whole lot of interactivity built into the presentation as well. And then finally, this presentation is only as good as the value you get out of it. So if you have any constructive feedback for me, please feel free to email me, or again, you get those Vistage surveys, so please fill those out. I'm always looking to make this presentation better. Or if you like it, tell me that too. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one to do virtually, but Show of hands, how many of you have invested in marketing? So I'm gonna, oops. There we go. Raise your hand. How many of you have invested in marketing? Everyone should put their hand up if you have a website. Okay. Show of hands again. How do you know, or sorry, show of hands again. Do you know for a fact it's working? Raise your hand again. Danielle, how do you know your marketing is working? Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
I can't. There we go. Is that it?
Yes.
I'm in the e-commerce space. I spend a lot of time with analytics platforms that we invest in, and just constantly track whether things are working or not. Of course, you know, there's so many touch points. It's never an absolute, you know, which is working when. But I know that the plan is working in general.
Yeah, great. Yeah, e-commerce a lot easier to tell if your marketing is working because you're constantly measuring it.
Right.
Who else? Raise your hand. Jeff, how do you know your marketing is working?
We get RFQs from people we've never heard of through our website.
And are you able to tie that back directly to sales?
What do you mean to sales? Like actual orders?
Like how many? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a number for you, but I assume we've got at least one over the last 20 years.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Victor?
You know, we have an advantage of having an analyst in-house to look at data, but the issue, I don't know if this is common in our world, is that we spend so much time on reading analytics and tracking things for clients that we tend to neglect our own. So that's one of the challenges I have as being a digital agency is I always use analogies like the barber with a bad haircut, you know, where you neglect your own marketing. Yeah, so that's something I want to work on.
Yeah, great. All right. So this problem, so the fact that people don't know. So for those of you that know how to generate or how to measure ROI with marketing, good for you, and tie it back to sales. That's fantastic. Most companies do not know how to do this. So going back to the presentation, bear with me while I toggle back and forth. But let me just throw some statistics at you. This was a study done by Deloitte. 50% of CEOs, business owners, and CMOs say that they could prove the impact of marketing quantitatively. That's only half of businesses that can improve the impact of marketing quantitatively. Over 25% of companies waste their budgets on ineffective channels and execution. And for a more marketing specific statistic, almost 3/4 of marketers say they have little or no confidence that they have the right marketing in place to achieve their goals. So let's explore a little bit why this is. So again, I'm going to be interactive again. In the chat, I want you to write the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of marketing, just the first word, and don't think about it too much, just first word that comes to your mind. Put that in the chat. ROI, ad spend, black hole, advertising, expensive, advertising. Okay. So I see a lot of advertising, I see exposure, some sales, ad spend. All right, yeah, that's about what I would expect. So marketing is really, there we go. So marketing is two things, right? So marketing is storytelling. So this is more the sexier side of marketing and what most people think when they market, when they think of marketing. So that's right, the advertising, the branding, exposure, just kind of the more sexy stuff, and the stuff that is actually not very measurable and kind of intangible. But what's becoming more important, and has always been there, but is increasingly important, is marketing is also used as a sales enablement tool, right? This is more of the tangible, measurable side of marketing. This is looking at analytics, measuring ROI. And the sales enablement piece, especially in today's world, is what's going to make your company win versus storytelling. Now, I'm not saying to ignore the storytelling part. That's very important. It's how you present your brand to the world. But without the sales enablement piece, your marketing is never going to work. And that's what we're going to focus on today in today's presentation. So let's talk about the way that the way that customers buy has evolved. Even in a post-COVID world, things have changed, right? So the first thing is research. So a recent stat I read, 98% of transactions, doesn't matter if you're B2B, B2C, begin with some type of research, right? That might be a Google search, might be a search on Bing, but it begins with some type of research, which can be overwhelming. And typically, if customers can't find what they're looking for quickly, or if they are just met with analysis paralysis, they're not going to do anything. So your company coming up in that research and answering their questions is critically important. Right? They're looking for guidance. They're looking for help narrowing down the hundreds, sometimes thousands of possibilities into the one solution that's perfect for them. They're looking for personalization. So no longer do customers want to be talked to like they're one of 50,000. They want to have a one-to-one personal connection with the brand or company that they're doing business with, right? They want to feel like your product or your service is unique to their needs and that you are creating something that is going to fit what they actually, what's actually going to solve their problem. They're looking for value beyond the sale. So an example I like to use here is Casper Mattress. One of the reasons that they blew up as the biggest bed in the box company is because they were the first online mattress company to offer that 100-night free trial. It was very inexpensive for them to offer this. Really, the reality of it was only maybe 2 or 3% of consumers took them up on this offer, but they were able to get people over the hump of actually buying the mattress by saying you could sleep on it for 100 nights. If you don't like it, we'll pick it up free of charge, right? So this is value beyond the sale. This helps mitigate the customer's risk before buying. So if you have this for your business, you're going to go far and you're going to stand out from your competition. And the last thing is trust. Now, of course, this has not changed over the years. Trust has always been critically important when it comes to getting someone to buy from you. But the way that you earn customer trust has changed over the years, right? And one of the top places to do that besides reviews is on your website. So as a result of the way that the way that buyers are buying has changed, marketing and sales can no longer function as separate silos. They have to be looked at together. So if you look at the traditional new buying funnel, right? Awareness, interest, consideration, intent, and evaluation and purchase. Before, it used to be marketing was pretty much responsible for demand generation, getting leads in the door, and then they would pass it off to sales. Sales would qualify them, answer questions, close the deal, and then manage retention, right? That used to be kind of what I call the old school way of doing of the traditional buyer's journey. But now, because everything is done mostly online, marketing is responsible for 4/5 of the buyer's journey, right? So not only are they responsible for the demand creation as well as getting leads in the door, but they're also responsible for answering customers' questions, overcoming common objections, providing them with all the information that they need to make a decision. So by the time they get to the sales team, they've pretty much made up their mind that they're going to buy. Sales is just basically there to close the deal and ensure that they get a good experience. So this is a really critical shift here because marketing and sale, again, this marketing is more important than ever, and making sure that you have all these components so that your sales team can, close the deal. It's very important to have this. And marketing and sales have to work together for these different assets and these different steps to get created successfully. So whether you have a marketing or sales team or not, the number place of marketing and sales convergence is on your website, which is why we're going to focus on there today, because really your website is your virtual headquarters. Jeff, did you have a question?
Yeah, on the last slide.
Yep.
Going back to your one of your first slides, I think I'm special. I'm always trying to figure out how this stuff applies to me, and I don't know the answer, but how, like, the marketing, the new buying funnel and what it is now, is that I want to say that that's not true for all markets, but I have no proof to go along with that or to go against that. So
What is your business? Sorry, remind me again, what's your business? What's your company?
so we're a contract manufacturer of thin metal parts,
Okay, and who are your customers?
other companies, B2B.
B2B. So this very much is applicable to B2B because chances are your customers are shopping. Are they just going to you, or are they shopping other competitors as well?
If I knew that, I would be better at marketing or better at sales.
So the concept of answering your customers' questions, having all the relevant information on your website to make an informed decision, providing them with guidance to get them to, that's all things that would apply to your business. So, I mean, I work with mostly B2B companies, and all of this is completely applicable. And maybe as we go through this presentation, you'll kind of see how this could be applicable to your business.
Okay.
Okay, so I've audited probably more than 800 Vistage company websites. There's two key insights that I've found. The first insight, which I was kind of surprised by, is 90% of websites have no clear call to action, right? So there's no goal of the website. They just have it up. There may be some buttons, there may not be, but there's no clear call to action. There's no clear next step for a potential customer or a visitor to take on the site. So we're going to do something a little bit taboo for a Vistage presentation. I want you all to get out your phones, not your desktop, but I want you to get out your phones because chances are most of your customers are looking at your website on your phone, right? So I want you to pull up your own company website, not the one you're auditing yet. And I want you to see if there's a clear goal on your site. Is there a button at the top that says, contact us, request a quote, schedule a consultation?
Yes.
All right, so show of hands, or I'll give you a couple minutes to look really quick. Okay. Show of hands, there's a clear goal on your website, a clear call to action button.
Wait, does it have to be the mobile version?
Yes.
Why?
Contact
Because
us,
most-
call us count.
Sorry, say that again.
Does contact us or call us now count?
Yes.
Okay.
And are you looking for it to be on the first page or could it be on the second click in?
No, it should be on the first page. It should be very obvious as soon as you land on the site.
Okay, because there's two paths for someone to take. So if they go A or B, and then there's a call to action after
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, I remember your website. Yeah, that's fine because you're guiding them to one of two destinations. But when you go to each of those destinations, is there a clear call to action button on each of those pages?
Yes.
Okay. Great. And Jeff, the reason why is because most visitors, and again, this is kind of overgeneralizing per industry, but most visitors will look at mobile before they look at desktop. And even if that's not the case for your business, Google still values the mobile experience from an SEO perspective over your desktop. So you have to have, so both need to be in a good spot, but mobile I find tends to be the most ignored. So that's why I have companies do it on their phones. And you're gonna, the website that you're auditing is gonna be done on your phone as well. Okay. All right, so it sounds like maybe it's 50-50 that some of you have call to actions and some of you don't, or you don't know. If you don't know, the answer is no. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going. So just remember that.
How aggressive do you want the call to action to be? I mean, it could be a flashing like casino here, click here, or can it be more subtle, or how aggressive should it be
What is the goal of your website?
to get sales?
To get sales. So it doesn't need to be like flashy casino, but it should be at the top, and as you're scrolling, it should be a button that's just kind of sticky and always there. And it should be a color that catches your eye. So anytime someone's ready to take action, they know exactly what they need to do next.
Guy, when you say
So-
sticky, it should always hover at the top. So even though you're scrolling, it's always
Yes.
appearing.
Yes.
And it's ours says submission form, which is how you submit to become a customer. But I guess that's not clear enough, right?
No. Submit is kind of is once you fill out the form, but if you're if it's to learn more, contact us, request a quote, that those are more call to action type those are more call to actions.
All right, thank you.
than submit. Yeah. All right, insight number 2. This is a big one. Most businesses use their website to just talk about how great they are versus talking directly to their customers.
Alex, do you want to
Alright.
display your PowerPoint?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No
Sorry,
problem.
thank you. That was bound to happen with toggling back and forth. Okay. So what do I mean by businesses bragging and talking about how great they are versus talking to the customer? On your website, is it all about you? So all about, is it me? You're just talking about yourself, or is it all about you? What does that look like? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So this is an all about me statement. With 20 years of shipping experience, we are the best choice for business growth. Now, turning that on its head, this is a more customer focused statement, right? This talks about the benefits of this to the customer. You deserve a logistics company that you can rely on. So notice the use of the we focused language versus the you focused language. Let me give you another example. We create a personalized home building experience through our expertise, creativity, and attention to detail, our ingredients for 25 years of success. You deserve nothing less than a superior expertise, creativity, and attention to detail. Your dream home can become a reality. Do we see the difference here? Right? You can have all the experience in the world, right? You could have 25, you could be 25 years in the business, 20 years in business. That the customer doesn't care so much about that, rather what it means to them, right? What that means to them is that you're reliable, you'll get the job done right? You'll get the best expertise possible. You'll give them peace of mind. That's what you're selling. Just a few more examples. Our copywriting services have helped many businesses reach their target audience. Versus you'll be confident that you're using the right words and your audience will be confident that you are the best solution. And finally, our proven accounting services are available for struggling business owners versus get your time back and grow your business with a professional accountant. Right? So everything in green speaks directly to how a product or service solves a customer pain point, right? And they're having a conversation directly with the customer versus the we and our statements are just basically the company bragging and talking about how great they are. Right? Do we understand? Okay, great. All right, so now I want you to
Alexandria, so what you're saying makes total sense. At what point do you substantiate that you are the right logistics company? Like, how do you back that up?
You can use sub bullet points to back that up, but again, talk about it from customer benefits, right? So you can say you can say with 80 years of experience, we're your preferred carrier because we do, or because or you deserve, or something to the effect of, you deserve peace of mind. So here's you deserve something you count on, and here, and then the sub bullets would be the ones that back that up, right? So that would be the 20 years of experience, the experts in the industry, that kind of thing. But your kind of overarching headline should be talking directly to the customer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now I want you to pull back up your own websites and look again on your phone. And I want you to just look at the homepage really quick. And I want you to look, are you talking more to your customers or are you talking to yourself? And give me the customer company split, right? So look at the number of you statements versus the we and us statements. And I want you to type that split in the chat box. Is it 80% customers, 20% talking about yourself? Is it 50-50? Is it you're talking, 100% about yourself? What's the split? %100 on me. Don't feel bad if it's all about you, because that's pretty much what I I find with most Vistage members. So 80% customer, great, Danielle. 50. David 50-50, great. Emily 50-50.
I have to say that Anna helped me with that. I've just done a huge rework on the website that Anna helped with over the past 6 months. So thank you, Anna.
No.
Good. So we're mostly talking to our customer, and there's a few that are mostly talking about ourselves. There's a few that are talking to their customers. So as a general rule of thumb, you want to aim for the 80-20 rule. 80% talking to your customers, 20% talking about yourself, right? And a lot of where you talk about yourself can be in the About Us page. That's totally about you, right? And about your company. But just remember, when a potential customer is visiting your website, they don't, and again, I say this with love, they don't care about your company, right? They care about whether or not you could solve their problem. Right? That's the first thing that's the first thing they're looking for when they land on your website. Can you help me solve my problem? What do you sell? Does it help sell, or does it help solve the problem? That's a very specific number. Okay. All right, so you have to look at your website as a 24/7 salesperson for your company. So even if the goal of your website is not to drive sales, your goal might not be to get leads, right? It might not be to make purchases. It might be to show that you exist as a company, or to speak to referrals. It might be to get new employees, right? It might be good as a recruiting tool, or it might be a goal as a recruiting tool, right? It doesn't matter what your goal is. Your website is still a 24/7 salesperson for your company. So what do I mean by this? 2 buckets here, right? So your website should be a buying tool for your customers, right? So it should inform buying decisions, satisfy research questions, right? So think about when you do a Google search. Normally you're asking a question, and then, or even if you're not, when you search for something specific, common questions will pop up, right? You want to satisfy those research questions, so you're popping up in the Google search engine. It should aid in comparing alternatives, how you are versus a competitor, how your service or product or service relates to another product or service, right? It should just help with that, again, that guidance. And even if you're not available 24/7, most of you aren't, right? It should still give you some sort of way to get in contact with your company at all times, whether that is a chatbot, whether that is a contact us form, it should, whether that's a phone number, just having a phone number, there should be a way for the customer to reach you. So your website is a buying tool for your customers, but it should also serve as a sales tool for your organization. So if your goal is to generate leads, obviously your website should be doing that. It could help in qualifying leads. We'll talk a little bit about how to do that on your website. Overcoming common objections, right? So by the time your sales team is engaging with the customer, they're not answering the same questions over and over again. And finally, the ultimate goal for your website should be to build trust. All right, so in my experience, there's really 7 elements of a great website, of a high-performing website. Right, so first is the customer-facing stuff. So that's content, navigation, design, email. We're going to spend, in this section, we're going to spend a majority of time on content, because content is the most important, yet it's kind of the part that gets ignored. And the reason for that is because most of the time when it comes to generating website content, it tends to fall on if you hire someone to do your website, it tends to fall on the business to provide that content. Well, most businesses aren't copywriters or website developers, and so they just kind of gather up their information, but it's not as maybe clean or easy to understand as it could be. So we're going to spend time on what makes great website content and what that consists of. And then there's the organization facing side. This is the less sexy stuff, but still very important nonetheless, right? So that's search engine optimization. We're going to have a very high level overview of SEO. That's a whole other workshop in and of itself, but just we'll talk about the basics, monitoring, and then analytics. Okay, so for the rest of this presentation, we're going to go through the website audit. So if you haven't already, look in that Excel link that has the website that you're auditing. So I'm having you audit each other's for two reasons. One, it's a lot more interactive this way. And number two, people tend to be kind to their own website. Whereas if you have someone that doesn't look at your website every day, you get a lot more constructive feedback. So that's why I have you audit each other's instead of auditing your own. So if you haven't already, look at that Excel sheet to see whose website you're auditing, and then download that. In the other link, download the relevant PDF. I've filled out the organization facing stuff for you already because you wouldn't have been able to do that on your own, but you're going to audit the customer facing side. So again, going back to everyone. So show of hands, does everyone have their form?
I don't have a spreadsheet.
You don't
It's
have
a
it here.
PDF.
I'm gonna pull it up really quick on my side.
So Jeff, you're doing Victor's site.
Oh, okay.
So and
Well, I download
it's
his
called Ready Artwork, and the URL is in the PDF. So if you follow the link right at the top of the chat, just click on that link and then look for Ready Artwork.
Can I download his?
You download his form
Okay.
because you're going to comment on his site. Mhm. Audit his
Okay.
site.
Does everyone else have their form? Okay, great. All right, I'm gonna go back. All right, so starting with content. So I want you to look at the website that you're auditing and pull it up on your phone, don't pull it up on desktop. And I want you to do the same exercise you just did for your own website and look at the customer focused versus the company focused language just on the homepage. And don't take too long to do this, just take maybe 30 seconds. What is your impression, right? Are they talking more about more directly to the customer, or are they just bragging about themselves and how great they are? The goal is to the goal is to meet the 80-20 rule, 80% customer focused, 20% company focused. If they are doing that, then check the box at the very top of the website optimization checklist. If they're not doing that, don't check the box and then write what you determined is the split, right? Whether it's 50-50, 100% customer focused, 100% customer focused, 0 company focused, or 100% company focused, 0% customer focused. Just kind of give the split. You take about 30 seconds to do that.
Sorry, but I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about really, or what I'm supposed to do.
Did you get the form, the PDF form? Do you know whose site you're looking at?
Well, I have the anatomy of a high performing website. Is that I have that downloaded?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the form you're going to fill in, and that you're going to be looking at Josh's website
On our phone?
On your phone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
go and if you've got the URL already, great, then you're all set. If you don't, let me know and I'll tell you how to get it. It's at the top of the PDF that you just that you downloaded.
Are we mainly looking at the landing page, or are we clicking through?
Just the homepage.
Okay.
Just the page that's pulled up.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned something about your website having like 2 different paths to take. I
Yes.
just want to make sure that I'm on. I see like the 1, 2, 3. That's your landing page, right?
1, 2, 3. That doesn't sound right. It should say cardiac vet, and it should say teleconsulting or
Oh,
mobile echo.
I didn't do cardiac vet because that was a last minute addition. That wasn't on the list that it was provided to me.
Andrew,
I'll text it to you, Andrew.
Cardio vet, right? Cardiovet.com.
Yeah.
Cardiac vet,
Oh, not cardio.
No,
cardiac.
cardiac.
Oh, okay, on my PDF, it says cardio.
Sorry about that. That's my bad. I quickly did it first thing this morning. Send it to you.
And then I would go to, so I see the two different options. Would I do the teleconsulting or mobile?
Either one. They should both have the attributes that Alex is
Okay,
encouraging us to have.
sounds good.
Okay, take another 20 seconds or so.
Are we just looking at the landing page or whatever, the first thing we go?
Just the landing page.
Okay.
So the idea is it's a first impression, right? So first impression, when you look at the page, are they talking about themselves? Is it all about them, or is it all about you as the customer? That's what I'm trying to get to.
So I have a
right.
question.
Yes.
So I have the awning and blind company, and the hero statement or whatever is we've got you covered. So isn't that kind of both? I'm trying to decide if that's them or the customer. That's a little bit of both.
Well, it starts with we,
Right.
so that's more. It's more inherently more company focused.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey, Alex. One
Yeah.
quick question. You said most people look at mobile. So for consumer stuff, I totally understand. But if our customers, our B2B customers are at their desks all day, do you still think they're going to pick up their phone when they're looking at our website? Or if they are in an office all day and we know them to be in an office, do you think they're really looking at a desktop?
So the desktop mobile split is very industry dependent. So it might be that they're looking at desktop. So B2B still shockingly, for the most part, is still mobile, mobile first, or that's the highest amount of traffic. Again, that's very industry dependent. But the reason I want you to still look at it on your mobile phone is because even despite all that, Google still values the mobile experience over desktop. It doesn't matter if you have more traffic on desktop. So your mobile experience for things like search engine optimization to work for you to, come up and search results. If your mobile site is not good, then you're going to get penalized because of it. If it's not the best experience it can be. Okay. So I want you to do it this way because, again, being Vistage is primarily B2B. Most companies don't even pay attention to their mobile experience, and they find that as we're going through this, it's not as great as it can be. And so it's really important regardless of where your traffic's coming from.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about messaging. And again, I know most of you are B2B, but I think this is probably like one of the best examples I could show you that shows how much messaging matters, right? So I assume you've all heard of Orange Theory. It's a workout. It's pretty popular in California. So this was one of Orange Theory's original landing pages, right? When they first started out in Florida. Their goal was to get 2,500 new leads a week with this landing page, and they were maybe getting 800, right? So it's an okay landing page, right? They have, they lead with try the best 1 hour workout in the country, try a free workout. They talk about, they have the logos where they've been featured, in major media outlets. In very tiny print, they talk about, why their workout's great, but it doesn't really, it wasn't really performing. So they made a dramatic shift to their website worldwide. So they went from Try the best 1 hour workout in the country to a more robust landing page that looks like this. What do you think is going to resonate with the target audience more? Try
Hey,
the best 1 hour
Alex?
workout. Yes.
I don't know if everyone else on the Zoom, but the PowerPoint takes up about 30% of the screen. So I can't.
Oh, I'm
really
sorry.
see
It's
it.
because I have a giant monitor. Give me 1 second.
All right, thank you. And if you can go back to the before so we could see it. I don't know if everyone else. There we go. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yep.
All right, I'll get out of slide mode. Yeah. Okay. All right, can we all see this?
A little bit. It'd be better if it was larger. There we go. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so what do you think is going to be more effective? Try the best 1 hour workout in the country, or, sorry, bear with me. The 1 hour workout that turbocharges fat loss and burns calories for up to 36 hours, even while you're asleep. Right? What do you think is going to resonate more with their target audience? Second one, right?
Yeah.
So they also have a much better offer, right? Try for a week instead of a free class. How you can lose, and then these are some of their other headlines. How you can lose weight and finally keep it off for good. Imagine burning calories for up to 36 hours, even while you sit on the couch. Right? See the way Orange Theory will transform your life forever. When they launched this landing page, this went from doing this went to do on to doing over 3,000 leads a week. Definitely resonated, definitely changed the game for them as a business, right? So messaging really matters, right? So again, even if you're B2B, the way that you talk about your products and services, though, if you're able to tap into customer pain points and write how your product or service solves them for the customer, that's going to go a lot further than just kind of talking about yourselves and how great you are. So what happens then? I get this question a lot. What happens if I need to talk to multiple audiences on your website? So I'm going to show an example, a couple examples. So if you're targeting, let me toggle back and forth here. Okay. So if you're targeting 2 or 3 customers, I would consider doing something like this. And I believe there's a couple of you that already do something like this. So this is a company called Tech Services. Tech Services does sanitation and janitorial services for they're 2 distinct customers, right? They have food distributors and they have grocery stores. Very different customer bases, and it would be really hard for them to create a website and copy that appeals to both of those different customers. For one, food distribution, they call it sanitation. Grocery store side, they call it janitorial services. So like the language itself is very different. So they made a really dramatic shift to their homepage, right? So when you land on their homepage, you basically get, it's kind of like the Matrix, the red pill, blue pill kind of thing, right? You either go to the food distribution side or you go to the grocery side. When you click on either side, you get taken to a personalized experience for food distribution, right? So the food distribution caters to the customer pain points specifically for those types of businesses, right? And the same is done on grocery. And you have a different top menu up here, the benefits in sourcing versus outsourcing, FAQs, right? So if you target more than if you target 2 or 3 customers, I would consider doing an execution very similar to this. So just getting your customer to the experience that's appropriate for them. All right, let me share my screen again.
What's your take on one page versus multiple pages to click around through?
On one page, you mean a one-page website versus multiple pages?
Well, just some of the pages have been like long that scroll all the way down. You just keep scrolling and scrolling, and then some are just the existing screen in front of you with no scrolling, and you gotta have to click on different tabs.
I would say you have to kind of find a balance. You don't, especially on mobile, you don't want it to be too long and read like a novel because no one's ever going to read that. So, you know, again, another reason to look at mobile first is to have just as concise of copy as you possibly can. But if to click on multiple tabs and have that be on, I assume you're talking about doing that on mobile, that's going to get really complex and really complicated. So you want to keep the mobile experience simple. You could get a little bit more complicated, or you could get a little bit more creative on desktop. But again, going back to how the mobile experience is the most important, I always say less is more. You want to get the customer to find the information that they can as quickly as possible, so that they're not just hunting around for information on your website. So if it's creating obstacles in giving, if they're not able to find what they're looking for, they're going to leave. So again, it depends on, I have to kind of look at your specific example, but I would just say, for the most part, general rule of thumb, less is more. Make it
So
easy.
on that text serve, right, you went into that
Mhm.
that left side, and then you start scrolling down, and it has these meters, and you just keep scrolling, and there's different services and things, and different this and this and this. And then on the Orange Theory one, it was just like one page with like a picture, and then like, there was really no scrolling at all in that one.
Yeah, so that Orange Theory page, the first one I showed, didn't really work because there was too little information. The one that they launched was if you saw, it was a little bit longer, right? And it told a story, just like the tech services one tells a story, right? It sets up, what their value proposition is, what the problem is, what the solution is, what the benefits are, case studies. It kind of tells a story that leads you through other pages on the website, and it's very clear what the next call to action is, or where to find the relevant information. And then the other thing too is the Orange Theory. That's a landing page from an advertising perspective. So that's not really their website. That's if they're advertising, that is a landing page that is specifically linked to their advertising campaign.
Yeah, this is great information, Alex. I'm loving it. I'm in the middle of building a landing page for my Facebook ads. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, let me pull up another website really quick. Okay, so if you were targeting, I'd say 4 or more customers, and you have a variety of different audiences, you might want to look at an execution very similar to Graco. So Graco is a paint company. They have a consumer side as well as a B2B side. They have a very clean top menu, right? Very simple, only 6 different options. But what's interesting is that the way that they organize it is by customer. So when you click on products, you'll see that they just have it organized by their 4 core customers, right? Homeowners, contractors, vehicle service and heavy equipment, and industrial manufacturing and processing. So whenever someone's looking on their site, it's really easy for whoever the customer is, it's really easy for them to get to the what they need, right? The same for articles and solutions. Instead of just having one giant site with a bunch of different articles and solutions for different customers, they organize it by customer type, right? And of course, they have special pages for distributors, suppliers, and then investors. But if you have multiple customers like this is a very clean way to help get each of your customer types to the information that they need. Again, it's very simple. Does that make sense? Great. All right, let me go back. Okay. So now we're going to go back to the website optimization checklist, or the anatomy of a high performing website, the PDF that you guys have. So I want you to pull up on your phone again, the website that you're auditing. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I'll explain why in a minute, to find the answer to these 4 questions, right? And you shouldn't have to search too far beyond the home page, the landing page when you first land on the site, and the top menu. But you should be able to find the answers to these questions very easily. So how can, right, is the website you're auditing, do they talk about how you can help you with your problem? Do they talk about the products and services they offer? Do they have price on there? We'll talk a little bit about pricing, especially as it relates to B2B later on. And is there an easy way to get in touch with them? Can you find the answers to these questions within 30 seconds? If you can, check the box of each of those questions on your on the checklist. If you cannot find it, don't check the box. Right, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And if you're still struggling or not know where we are, just let me know. Take another 15 seconds or so. Okay. I know I went fast. The reason why I only give you 30 seconds is because there are studies that show if customers cannot find the answers to these 4 questions within that time frame, they are 4 times more likely to leave your site immediately. Right? So that's why I only give you 30 seconds. Right? Now we're going to move on to the rest, and I'm not going to give you I won't give you a time limit to do that. So let's move on to the next set of questions, what I call trust builders. Is there a place on the website that where the business talks about what their customers are saying about them? Are they pulling in Google reviews, right? Is there, is there reviews, just written reviews on the site? Is there video reviews, video testimonials? Is there something on the site that talks about what customers say about them? Are they showing results, whether it's numerical, visual, or otherwise? So what does that translate into? So that could be case studies. That could be if they're a construction business, that could be pictures of their finished work. It could be actually showing numerical results, how they grew a business. Right. And then do they have, are they providing value to the customer so that the customer mitigates their risk before fully committing, right? Do they offer a money back guarantee? Do they offer a free consultation? Think back to the 100-night free trial I talked about with Casper. Are they offering something along those lines, right? That the customer can at least get a little bit of peace of mind before fully committing. Right, I'll give you some time to look for those answers. You can go beyond the homepage to look for these now as well. But again, they shouldn't be that difficult to find. Now, I will say, as it relates to customer reviews and customer testimonials, there's definitely a hierarchy in what customers value. So at the bare minimum, you have, as a business, basically quotes with or without pictures, right? These tend to be less credible because a lot of businesses unfortunately make them up, right? So it's better than nothing, but if you can, I would move to the next tier, which would be video testimonials. So you actually have your customers on camera talking about their experience doing business with you. But kind of the ultimate gold mine at the very top of the pyramid, right? The very top of the hierarchy would be to bring in third-party reviews onto your website, right? So bringing in Google reviews, bringing in, if you have a Facebook or if you're a local business, Facebook, Yelp reviews. Google reviews would be the most important if you can bring those in, but just bringing in some sort of third-party reviews, Trustpilot, whatever's applicable to your industry. And you can do, there's a couple of plugins that will allow you to do that. Even Google, if you have your developer use your API, you can do that for free. But there's products called ElfSite. There's one called Tag Embed that will allow you to actually port in your reviews, and you could actually select it so it only brings in the 4 and 5-star reviews if you wanted it to.
Would you consider an app like Judge Me in that category?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
I apologize, but I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, I'm listening to you, but I don't know what am I supposed to be doing at this moment?
So you should be looking at the website and seeing if you could find the answers to these questions that are up on the screen. And then if you do find them, check the box. If you don't check the box.
Where are the questions on the screen?
Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Sorry.
Yeah, you want to show your screen, yeah.
It's also on your website optimization checklist.
Okay.
Apologies.
Alexandra, you mentioned importing Google reviews and third party.
Mhm.
But for B2B, we tend to find clients struggle to get enough volume to be anything meaningful.
Yeah.
In those kind of situations, you know, would it be what you said, video testimonials or like
Yeah.
brands that
Video
they work with,
testimonials would be
logos?
ideal.
Okay.
Yeah, video testimonials, you can do logos, logos also build social proof, but customers still like hearing from other customers. So I would say that is just as important.
Are there any like tips you can get? Because we find a lot of our B2B clients, they have a hard time getting their customers to do a video. It's pretty challenging.
So there's been a couple of different ways that I've been able to get B2B customers to do videos. So number one, they basically kind of write a script for them and just kind of have it be very turnkey, where they record it on Zoom or something like that. They give them very clear instructions. I've had clients give, like a gift card, like an Amazon gift card or a Starbucks gift card in exchange for doing a testimonial video.
I
Go ahead, sorry.
just want to chime in. I started doing this on my website, this thing, like we're an OEM component, like these customers spec us in. So just kind of writing in who your current customers are is kind of a way of them endorsing you and adding that trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, if you make it very turnkey from a video perspective, if you're looking to do video testimonials, I have found that if you make it as turnkey as possible for someone to do it, then they have no problem doing it. Where it becomes work for them, that's when the hiccup happens, where they're not as willing.
Thanks. I like the Zoom idea. I hadn't thought about that, but I think that makes it a lot easier. But that's always been like the struggle. Like, most people don't want to be in front of cameras, and especially B2B. It's hard to get those volume. For e-commerce, it's going to be pretty straightforward, but B2B, it's where that's that pain point.
Sure.
Are there companies that you can hire that will go to them and like put it together for you?
Are there other companies that you can hire to put? Yeah, I mean, you can hire a company that would come out or that would, organize it on Zoom if you give them the customer information, and they'll write the script and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely. All right, we're going to move on to the next set of questions. So this is value questions. So look at the website that you're auditing. Again, it doesn't have to be just on the homepage, but do they talk about their process and how they work? Do they talk about what they stand for as a company? So that would be mission and values. This would be most likely on the About Us page. And do they talk about what demonstrable claims make them different from their competition that would be meaningful? So this isn't like we have the best quality or we have the biggest selection, because those are kind of not clear. Those aren't really measurable, nor are they demonstrable. This is more like, what makes this company truly unique? Is it their culture? Is it how they support social causes, right? Do they donate a portion of their profits to different charities or support different charities? Do they truly have a unique product or service that maybe is patentable or their own unique IP? What makes them stand out that's completely different that no one else, no other company can offer? Do they talk about that? All right, and then when you're done with that, you can move on to the last set of questions, which is the guidance related questions. So this comes down to how are you different from other options and how you compare to other options. So is there a visual comparison chart, or are they talking, or is there a section on the website dedicated to this? Doesn't have to necessarily be how they're different from other competitors, but maybe it's just how are they different from like products and services, or how do they compare to like products and services. If you, I'll show an example of a comparison chart in a moment, but it's but ideally this would be a more visual way of showing your company's value, or showing your product, the value of your products and services. Right, so is there anything that talks about that, or that's a visual component on their website that addresses these questions? If there is, check the box. If there's not, don't check the box. Take another 15 seconds or so. When you're done, total up all the boxes you checked, including the 80/20 box at the top, and write the total in the subtotal section at the bottom of that section, and then set the checklist aside for now. Okay. So let's talk about visuals. So you want to have, definitely want to have visuals that tell a story on your website. Most people are visual learners, right? They don't want to see, especially on your phone, they don't want to see a bunch of text. They want to be able to absorb it from a in a really easy to understand way. So thus, you know, visuals become a great tool here. So first thing I want to say about visuals is, where you can help it, try not to use stock photography. Right? If the goal of your website is to build trust, stock photography does not do that. Right? It's fake. It's staged scenes. It's set up. Right? It doesn't. You know, it's not really humanizing your business. It's just you're kind of just hiding behind a wall of fake photos. So, you know, there's certain instances where you would need to use stock photography. For example, if you're a B2B company and you have different pages on the industries that you serve, and you know, let's say you're online metal company and you serve an in one of your industries that you work with is an aerospace company, obviously you're not going to have aerospace images ready on hand, right? So there, it's okay to use stock photography. But when as it relates to, you know, you're talking about your company, your products and services, and who you're, try not to use stock photography. Pay, you know, a couple $1,000s and hire a professional photographer to come in and take pictures of your team, of your workers, of your offices, if you have them, right? It's a really great way to humanize your business and, again, help tell that story, right? Don't just put imagery in there just to have it in there. It should be dynamic. It should add value. Again, it should help tell the story that your text is trying to tell. But one of the most important visuals that you can add is just using video or some sort of interactive media. Studies show that websites with video are 5 times more likely, customers are 5 times more likely to take action than those without video. So I'll give you some examples of videos that you could start with at your company, but video is becoming increasingly important. All right, so I'm going to show an example of what I would consider just a great website that tells a story visually. So give me just 1 second to pull this up. Can you guys see my screen? Does it look really small or is it good? Yes,
Good.
no.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, so Roll Park essentially makes commercial parking lots. So I chose this because it's an otherwise what would be considered somewhat of a boring industry, but they make it look really exciting. They make it look it looks interesting, right? After you'll see as we scroll down to the website, you want to kind of get to know a little bit more about what these guys do. Right, so just to kind of give you an overview, these guys make this material that's kind of a cross between asphalt and gravel. So when you land on their page, right, you see this really dynamic video that shows how they work, how it shows them installing the material, and you can even watch if you wanted to watch a video with sound, you could even click here. You'll notice that their text is not that long, right? They have little icons that show the benefits. Right, show the value, they have their logos, and they also invested in taking these really great aerial shots and drone footage with case studies. This is a Ford parking lot that they did. That's why there's nothing but red, black and white and gray cars. They have their testimonials here, map of where they are. All right, we talked about comparison charts. So this is a great example of a visual comparison chart, right? So the key to making a really good chart is having a true apples to apples comparison. So you'll see on the right, these are the comparison, the comparison elements that they use. And then you'll see that they position themselves, as I said before, across between asphalt and gravel, right? So the other thing too is this is almost like an unbiased view of the key differences, right? So Roll Park is highlighting what makes them better, but they're also, of course, they're also breaking down, why you might want asphalt or why you might want gravel, right? So whether or not it's impervious or permeable, the cost, right? Expensive, less expensive, whether or not it's reusable, the lifespan, how much time it takes to install, whether or not it's ADA accessible, lead or no lead, whether it's rented or can be rentable or can't be rented, and the maintenance, right? So they don't win in every single category, but they're really giving you a high level overview of what the differences are between these three materials, right? So a really great example of a comparison chart. In different industries, so when you click on them, slightly different copy. And then they even have a 3D rendering of what the inside of their material looks like. Right, so this is a great example of a website that use visuals to tell a story. Right, so let me go back. All right, so let's talk about videos. So I'm going to go over 5 videos that I have found that generate leads and drive sales. Now, some of these are more suited towards the B2B world because most Vistage members are B2B. I can talk about, like the pricing one. I think there's a couple of e-commerce folks in the room. Pricing one probably is not as applicable for e-commerce because you guys are very transparent about your pricing. But even still, we're going to talk about the top 3 today. Because these are the 3 most important and the 3 that most people haven't seen. Most people have seen testimonial videos and Meet the Team. In the takeaway deck I provided you, there's examples of each of these in that deck. So you have access to them if you want to see them. But for time's sake, we're going to just go through the top 3. Okay, so the first one, we're going to start with the hero's journey. So if you are going to invest in a production quality video, this is the video to do it with, right? This is the video that's going to go on your homepage. And the whole point of this video, the reason why it's so important is because it shows the customer that you are the only solution to their problem. So a traditional hero's journey video starts with the customer having a problem or having a certain pain, right? And they're looking for a solution. Your product or service enters it, the product or service that you offer enters in, and the customer tries it, and then the customer's life is, and how the customer's life is better as a result of it, right? So it just basically takes the customer on the journey going from pain to pain solved. This video can also be used in social media. It could also be used in promotional materials or sending to customers or clients, right? But I'm going to play an example of one that's just a creative one from a company called Ruby. They're basically outsourced receptionists and chat specialists, and I think they did a really good job of showcasing their value. Now, I will tell you that it's a little long. I would recommend if you're going to create a video like this, do it, aim for 90 seconds or less. Theirs is 2 minutes, although they do have different versions of it. But just take a look at this video and see how it can apply to your business. So it's big. I'm gonna.
Let's say.
Can you guys see it, or is it too small? Before I start, if I play it on here, is it too small, or do you want me to pull it up on YouTube?
It's pretty small.
It is small. Mhm.
Okay, just a second.
I prefer it much smaller. I mean, sorry, a bit much larger, sorry.
Okay, give me just 1 second. Oops. Hold on, I'm getting the advertisements. Give me one.
Really? First up,
Let's say, for argument's sake, you are a lawyer, or you sell houses, or you own a plumbing business, or any kind of business. Chances are you use something like this. And if that's the case, then you're probably used to this.
Rogers and Hammerstein, attorneys at law.
Hi, I'm trying to find a good lawyer. Do you have 20 minutes?
Yes.
Which is why you need Ruby. Live receptionists who can take your calls. Like this.
Good afternoon, Geek Real Estate.
Lucy's Plumbing.
Rogers and Hammerstein, attorneys at law. How may I help you today?
Hi, I'm trying to find a good lawyer. Do you have 20 minutes?
I'd be happy to assist you.
Great. Lucy's Plumbing, how may I help you?
Ruby isn't just one person.
Lucy's Plumbing.
Lucy's Plumbing.
Lucy's Plumbing.
It's a symphony of people.
I don't know what happened. We have a situation on our hands.
Ready to connect anyone to the right person.
Let me connect you with Marley. She's the best person to help you with your problem.
Any chance someone can come out today?
It looks like we can get someone your way around 3 p.m.
Because Ruby is about making connections and building relationships.
My pleasure.
Turn it on from anywhere, at your desk or out of office. Ruby's there when you need it. You need Ruby because business is booming and people are calling.
This is Lucy.
And you're stepping out, or getting lunch, or attending your kid's karate competition. Hi-ya! Maybe you're used to this.
Hi, I'm trying to find a good lawyer.
Please hold.
Hello?
But Ruby is all about this.
Jack said you were going to call.
Lucy wanted me to call and see how that water pressure's working out for you.
¿Sería capaz de reprogramar hasta una fecha posterior?
Sí, está bien.
You need Ruby because when you're offline, your customers are online, looking for answers to all sorts of questions. And when things cool down, you can flip a switch and tell Ruby to take 5 or 10 or the whole week. So let's say, for argument's sake, you're a business person who uses something like this. And you know that any missed call is a missed opportunity. Well, then you definitely, positively, without a doubt need...
Good afternoon, Geek Real Estate. How may I help you today?
Okay,
So, hello, everyone.
hold on. There we go.
I'm sold. That was a great video.
All right, so just to kind of quickly, again, they did a really good job of outlining the customer pain point, how their company solves the problem, and how their life is better afterwards. So again, I would highly recommend doing this and investing in some sort of production quality video for your company that showcases the value that you offer, because it's going to go a long way in helping the customer visualize what life is going to be like after purchasing your product. All right.
Hey, Alexandria, I just put a link in the chat.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on those explainer videos versus the one you just showed?
It's this is a very similar video. I haven't looked at the link, but this is, let me pull it up. Group.
So they're more like cartoon characters. If you wanted to play one, they're like 30 seconds.
Oh, I see.
I've done a bunch of those versus like real people. and wanted to
So
get
yeah. So what I would say is it depends on the business, right? So you see a lot of SaaS platforms or services that more kind of default to the animated kind of explainer video, which explainer video is very similar to what I'm talking about here. What I would say is it depends on your business. If your business is primarily relationship based and it's about building rapport with customers, talking to them in person, or meeting with them in person, having some sort of human element to your video versus an animation is going to be really important. If it's more like a subscription model, SaaS platform, probably more even to some extent, I would say e-commerce also is more human to human. But if it's one that doesn't really require a lot of face-to-face, if you have a business that doesn't require a ton of face-to-face interaction, then that's totally fine. You can do it that way as well. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is pricing. So again, this is more for B2B than B2C. But there is a way for B2B companies to talk about price without actually having to give your actual costs on how things, or give your actual amounts on how things cost, right? So what you want to, the key here is to address pricing in some way, shape, or form to show and not use it as a way to talk about money necessarily, but to showcase your value. So there's two ways to do this. So number one, you can talk about industry averages, right? The average cost of a product or service like mine starts at $10,000, and here are the things that would make the cost go up, right? And then you're talking about you're setting the customer's expectations up front. The other way you can do it is you could use it as more of a lead qualifier, right? The pricing of our products or services typically start at $10,000 and go up from there, right? So you're kind of setting like, hey, you're not going to get out of here spending any less than $10,000, and here are the things that are going to increase it. But again, the idea when you're talking about the price increases, you're showing the value and you're showing that even though you might not be the cheapest cost in the market, you're talking about what kind of value in talking about the cost, you're talking about what kind of value you're going to get as a result of working with you, buying your product or service. So I recommend not only making a video, but also having a pricing page on your website. And again, even if you're not really if you're not giving actual numbers, that's okay, because you're at least willing to address it where the likelihood that your customers is very low. So this is also a way for you to stand out from your competition, and it also builds more trust, right? Because think about how frustrated you get when you go to a website and you can't find anything on cost, and then you have to fill out a big long form to even get to talk to someone to maybe get a cost at that point. So again, I urge you to watch this video and talk and think about how it can apply to your business. And we'll talk about it a little bit after it's done. Okay, let me pull it up on.
Do with your ear.
So you're interested in incorporating woven wire filter cloth into your filtration process, but you're unsure of how much it's going to cost. Well, to put it simply, it depends. In this video, I'll be breaking down the different factors that contribute to the cost of filter cloth. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm the sales manager of filtration products here at WS Tyler. From chemical engineering to the manufacturing of plastic goods, there's a wide range of industries that depend on reliable filter media to get the job done. That said, every filter operation can be different and requires a customized filter media to meet those needs. Simply put, the price depends on several factors. For example, a 40 micron filter cloth could be $30 a square foot, and a 5 micron filter cloth could be $38 a square foot. That's going to depend on the quantity ordered and any post-weaving processes added as well. Mini mesh filter cloth generally costs more than square mesh. That's because more labor, fabrication, and materials go into the construction of the mini mesh. Some of the biggest factors that contribute to the cost of filter cloth are labor, configuration, size, shape, and mesh count. Naturally, the more fabrication that goes into the creation of a filter also will increase the cost. Additionally, post-weaving services such as annealing, sintering, or calendaring can drive the cost of your filter as well. The best way to get a definite price is to contact us directly for a quote. To do so, you can call us at 1-800-321-6188, email us at info@wstyler.com, or use the interactive chatbot on our website. If you'd like to learn more about filtration, we do have a learning.
Okay, so again, you'll notice that the only pricing he talked about was industry averages, right? He didn't really give numbers. He talked about how the price depends based on several different factors where they're showing their value. Now, just to kind of put this into perspective, W.S. Tyler put a pricing page on their website with this video and some text that explained, how their pricing worked. They put that on their website, and in under 6 months, they went from for the 6 months before they launched the pricing page, they got a total of 250 leads just for their cloth. But the 6 months after, once they launched that site, they got over 1,200. So it went up significantly, and the pricing page became the second most visited page on their website next to their homepage. Right. So I strongly urge, and I know it makes people uncomfortable, and it's kind of almost like the taboo thing to put pricing as a B2B company on your website, but just think about how you can maybe address it in some way, shape, or form, and how it can build trust. Because I guarantee you, your competition's not doing it. It'll help you stand out from your competition. Any thoughts, questions? No. Yep. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just really like the idea of a pricing thing. I never thought of that before, but one of my biggest issues when coming from like the B2B world is I go to a website and there's zero information on how much things actually cost, and that's really cool. And I want to do that on my website.
Yeah, definitely should. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the last video on here instead of toggling back and forth. Give me just 1 second. So the last video I want to talk about is the FAQ video. Give me just 1 second. Uh-oh. Or not. Hold on. Okay. All right, sorry about that. The last video I want to talk about is the FAQ. Audio is failing me today. Is the FAQ video. So every single website should have an FAQ page they should have an FAQ page for a couple different reasons. So number one, answer your customers' most common questions. If you have a sales team, your sales team will thank you because you're answering the questions that they get asked over and over and over again, right? And you're hopefully making the sales process more efficient. Your sales team can also use this as a marketing tool to send to customers ahead of time, right? Like a part of your process, hey, we're looking forward to our call. Here's a list, or here's a page with our most frequently asked questions, right? So review those ahead of time. It'll make our conversation that much more productive. The other piece of it too is having an FAQ page will help you from an SEO perspective, right? Again, when you type something into Google, you'll notice all those boxes of questions pop up that are the most common customer questions. You want to come up in that box, right? So the FAQ page can help you get there. Additionally, not only do you want to have those questions in written form, but you also want to do a video of them and upload it to YouTube. Again, YouTube is still the second largest search engine in the world, right? So you never know, customers might find you that way, even B2B customers. So I'm going to show you an example of an FAQ video. You don't have to have high production quality for this video. I am going to show you one that has a little bit of higher production quality. You can literally shoot it on your iPhone and edit it in iMovie, right? Put the question up, have someone answer it from your company. Put the question up, have someone answer it from your company. It's really easy to do. But and if you don't know where to start, if you don't know what your frequently asked questions are, Ask all your customer facing people, say, hey, what are the 5 to 10 most common questions you're sick and tired of answering over and over again, right? For e-commerce, that would be your customer service people. For B2B, it could be your sales team, might even be you. So I just, you should have no problem pulling together at least 5, aim for 5 to 10 questions at a minimum. All right, so I'm going to show you an example of one from a company called Tim's Music. They're a local music store here in Sacramento. That is well done.
So here at Tim's Music, we have a great rental program. The rental rates start at about $25 a month, go on up to about $150, depending on what it is that you're renting. We rent everything from piccolos to tubas, everything in between, and all of the orchestral instruments, violin, viola, cello, and bass. We have a 2-month minimum on our rental contract, and then it's month to month after that, so there's no long-term commitment. We get the question all the time, we can buy a cheap instrument, or why should we rent an instrument at Tim's Music? And really, there are 3 engineering paths. You have an engineering path where something was engineered specifically for a cost point, a price point. We want it to cost this much, and that's really what the concern is. Then there are instruments that are manufactured for a very specific, successful beginning experience, and that's engineered into the instrument. And then instruments that are engineered for a professional acoustic signature. So here at Tim's Music, we rent those instruments that are engineered to allow for a successful beginning experience, and that's the best way to start your child's musical journey. On our rental program, all of the maintenance that needs to be done to the instrument is paid for by a $5 maintenance fee that you will pay. All of that is done here in our shop. You get priority service. If the instrument is damaged, destroyed, broken, ran over by a truck, played sword fight with, it's a different story, but those repairs are charged. But all of the regular maintenance and repairs are taken care of here in the store by Tim's Music.
I'm not going to play the whole video, but you get the idea, right? So again, super important. Make an FAQ video and make an FAQ page if you don't have one already. All right, let's go back. Okay, so going back, just to wrap up the content part. So the last part I want to talk about is having a resource hub, a learning center, or something on your site that's dedicated to basically housing more information should your customer be looking for it. So again, there's a hierarchy here. So at the very minimum, every single business should have an FAQ page, right? So that's kind of like your stage A of resource hub. If you have the resources to do this, you should create what I would call high value content. So again, this is more geared towards the B2B side, but what I consider high value content would be content that's more than a blog article or an article, right? So that would be things like ebooks, white papers, case studies, things that you can use as lead magnets or as tools to help answer customers' questions and give potential customers more information about your products and services. And I would aim, if you do have the resources to do this, I would aim to do maybe 1 or 2 a quarter, right? It doesn't have to be a lot, but these will have a high return on your investment if you invest in the time to do them and do them properly. And then if and only if you have the resources to do this, do ongoing articles and videos, right? So this is the form of a blog. I can't tell you how many businesses I see, they started a blog in 2017 or 2018, and after 4 months, they gave up. If you're not committed to doing 1 to 2 unique articles a week, and you don't have the resources to do that consistently for at least a year, you're not going to get the return out of it that you're hoping for. So I always caution businesses, you'll hear a lot of marketing agencies. I know there's a marketing agency here, but you'll hear marketing agencies saying, do content, do content, do content. But the key with content is not only building content that's answering customers' questions, but it's consistency. And the truth, the reality is a lot of companies aren't really committed to delivering to creating content with consistency, or don't want to make the investment into doing it with consistency. So don't do it unless you're willing to put the time into doing it, because that's the only way you're going to get the return on investment.
What's your take on the Chat GPT
I always get asked this question.
recycling old blogs and ideas and refreshing them?
Yeah, so that it's great. So Google actually, I just read an article yesterday because I know there's kind of been a debate on whether or not Google penalizes AI content or not. Google does not do that. They finally came out and said that. But you have to, it has to be informative. So as long as it's relevant to your customer and it's providing factual data, which requires an actual human to check it because ChatGPT is not always accurate, that's fine. You can use it to help write content. It's more efficient for sure. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to wrap up here, and then we're going to go back to the website optimization checklist, finish filling out the content piece, and then we're going to take a break. So I'm going to leave you with just, there's a lot of things on the screen, but I'm going to leave you with 3 things just to kind of remember about this section. So number 1, the 80-20 rule, right? So make sure that your website content is talking directly to your customer using that you focused language versus that we and us focused language, right? Aim for the 80-20 rule, 80% customer focused, 20% company focused, right? And if you're not meeting that requirement, I really urge you to go back and rework your copy on your website, and at least start with the homepage, if nothing else. Okay. Number 2, use video. Put video on your site. Again, companies with video on their site are 5 times more likely to get a customer to take action than those without. Video is very important. And again, at very least, use visuals and don't use stock photography, but invest in some photography of your team, of your company, of your offices, just so it humanizes your business. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is make an FAQ page if you don't have one already. Right? So, and that's both in written form and in video form. Okay. So take back out the anatomy of a high-performing website checklist, or the website optimization checklist that that you're looking, and pull up the website that you're auditing. And we're going to pick back up really quickly in the video section, which I believe is on the 2nd page. So there's one box there, right? So either they have video or they don't. If they do, check the box. If they don't, check the box and write 0 or 1 in the subtotal. And then look at the resource hub. And then look and see if the company that you're auditing, if they have some sort of resource hub, whether that be a blog, an FAQ section, if they have that high value content. If they do have that, check the box. If they don't check the box. And then write the subtotal, and then total everything up on the content side. So total all the subtotals up. And let me know if you're lost, because I can also let's see. Yeah, I'll do. Okay. So you have your subtotal out of 12 here. Video subtotal. Your content subtotal.
I have a question. Does the resource center have to be like one specific area that they would go to? Like the website I'm looking at does provide information about each product, but it's not like all on one page, like a resource page or anything like that.
No, those would be product pages. Those wouldn't be considered a resource hub. Resource hub is like information above and beyond just kind of the typical product information.
Okay.
So when you're done, total up everything out of 17, and then just write some additional comments on places where they can improve. And then when you're done with that, we'll take a 10-minute break. and then we'll start back up with navigation, and the other sections will go a lot faster. Content, as I mentioned before, is the most important and the most robust, so we spend the most time on that up front, but the rest of the sections will go by pretty quickly.
For the high value content section
Mhm.
with ebooks, white papers, Victoria's website has like catalogs, installation guides, and drawings. Would you say that
Those
that
count.
is high value content?
Yes, definitely.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do most mobile pages have video? Because I know our website, our browser-based website, our desktop website has video, but the mobile site doesn't. So is mobile video typical on mobile?
Yeah, so it needs to be embedded by YouTube or Vimeo. So it runs from a speed perspective, it runs okay. If you have it active, so like I think there's background videos, like when you land on the homepage, you'll see that, like, you know, the one, I think we looked at the Roll Park example that had the background video. That on mobile is a no-go because that will just slow down the mobile site.
Yeah.
But to have the videos embedded by YouTube or Vimeo, that's fine.
Okay. And so then the person visiting the site would actually have to click on that, or would it autoplay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't play automatically.
Okay.
Is there any issue with video slowing down a website?
If you have two, so not if they're embedded, but if
Okay.
there's too many of them that are not embedded from YouTube or Vimeo, if you have like ones that are just actually embedded on the website itself, then yes, that will significantly slow down your website and the bandwidth.
I always worry about like the main banner on the home page being a video, you know, just because things happen, and if it's not running, you know, what do you get instead?
Yeah. So for e-commerce, what I see a lot is you have your banner, that's like your scrolling banner where you promote different things. And if you want to have a video, you would have it directly below the banner to show people, or you would have it on specific product pages depending on what the video is. Yeah. But again, it's embedded from YouTube or Vimeo. It's not on the site itself.
Right.
All right, so do we want to come back at 10:55, Anna? Is that okay? Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So we're going to take a 10-minute break back at 10:55. See you then.